Live from Central Pennsylvania, this is CBS 21 News at 11.
A tragic night in Central PA. You heard part of the shootout in Juniata County that led to the death of a state trooper and another being injured. The shooter also killed in the incident. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jessica Babb. The investigation into what led to today's violent events is still ongoing. What we do know is that it took place in Mifflintown near the State Police Troop G station. We have team coverage tonight, starting with CBS 21's Hallie Jacobs, who breaks down what happened.
Just a few blocks up from where I'm standing right now, police say that a person encountered one trooper at around 12:45 in the Mifflintown borough. The trooper was then shot. A witness we spoke with says he was driving when he saw a crashed PSP car and the trooper being given CPR. The police began searching for the shooter, who was found around 3 p.m. in the area of Swamp Road and Baumgardner Drive in Walker Township. Troopers and the shooter exchanged gunfire, where both the trooper and shooter were shot and killed. The scene is still under investigation, and police are asking the public to avoid the area. At this time, we have not been given the names of the male shooter or the two troopers. Reporting in Juniata County, I'm Hallie Jacobs.
Governor Josh Shapiro was at the hospital with the injured trooper earlier this evening. He responded to the shooting in a statement, saying in part, quote, "Each trooper put themselves on the line to protect their fellow troopers and to protect their fellow Pennsylvanians." It goes on to say, quote, "Lori and I send our love to the family of the trooper killed today. May his memory be a blessing." The state's Fraternal Order of Police also responding to this evening in a statement, saying in part, quote, "Bravery and honor best describe these troopers, and we will hold their heroic actions in our hearts and minds forever." The Pennsylvania FOP sends its heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the fallen trooper. The State Troopers Association wrote, "The bravery of these troopers and their loved ones will stay in our hearts forever." Today is also leaving a mark on the Mifflintown community. Brock Owens with our Sinclair sister station continues our team coverage with how they're responding.
Local residents say they're shocked to hear a state trooper has been shot. They say last week a homicide happened in the area and say that was unusual for their small town that's generally peaceful. But community members say these circumstances are even more mind-blowing.
As I got up to the youth center, I noticed there were a couple vehicles pulled off the side, and I noticed there was a gentleman laying on his back, and they were performing CPR, and it was just troopers from everywhere just coming. I've never seen so many state troopers in my life. This has never happened in this community before.
Community members tell me they're just hoping for the best for the injured trooper right now. In Juniata County, I'm Brock Owens.
This is a tragedy for the state police. We ask for your continued prayers for not only our troopers, one killed, one wounded, but also their respective families.
A Commonwealth in mourning. The Juniata County community is rallying behind the Pennsylvania State Police troopers after 2 people were shot in the line of duty. One killed, another still in the hospital tonight. But the man being honored across PA, 29-year-old trooper Jacques Rougeau. He leaves behind a wife and was just about to celebrate his 3-year anniversary with PSP. The trooper still in the hospital right now is Lieutenant James Wagner. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jessica Babb. Tributes have been pouring in for those state troopers. Just a short time ago, a vigil in Juniata County honoring them came to an end. CBS 21's Hallie Jacobs was there and shares their response.
Community members, first responders, families, and friends all coming together tonight to honor the trooper who died and another who was fighting for his life.
Lord, we just pray that his actions don't go in vain, God.
They're able to come here and mourn and show their respect.
Trooper Jacques Rougeau Jr. is the 104th member of the PSP to lose his life in the line of duty. He enlisted in June of 2020 and was originally assigned to Troop J in York before transferring to Troop G in Lewistown this March. He was just 29 years old.
Our community is small and, as you can see, very close, and when something happens we pull together and support each other, and we will do this, but this is definitely devastating to our community.
45-year-old Lieutenant James Wagner was injured by the shooter. He enlisted in the Pennsylvania State Police in September of 2002. He's the station commander for Troop G at the Bedford Station. Community members I spoke with say their thoughts and prayers are with him while he's in critical condition at Hershey Medical Center.
This isn't a big city where, there's, tragic shootings every weekend or whatever. I mean, this doesn't happen very often. So when it does happen, everybody feels it very deeply.
Community members are calling them heroes.
They're the first ones to take the call, and they talk people through emergencies, and they show up and take care of anything. Like yesterday, they didn't hesitate to help.
This devastating loss has rocked the small community, which residents say is normally very peaceful, but they do say that they will come together and become stronger because of this. In Juniata County, I'm Hallie Jacobs.
Today, authorities provided a timeline of yesterday's events, and we're going to take you step by step into what happened. The incident spanning over multiple crime scenes. We have them mapped out here so you can see. But it all started at 11 in the morning when state police say Brandon Stein showed up at the Troop G station in Lewistown, armed with a high-caliber rifle. They say he opened fire on multiple patrol vehicles. That led to a search throughout the area. State police calling it a game of cat and mouse. They say during this search, Stein was calling 911. In this area of Mifflintown around 12:45, officials say Lieutenant Wagner was shot by Stein. Then around 2:30, state police say Trooper Rougeau was ambushed by Stein and shot through the windshield of his patrol vehicle. After that, things quickly came to an end. Police say they surrounded Stein in a restaurant parking lot where a shootout then happened. Those are just some of the hundreds of rounds that police say were fired. Officials say the only comparison they could think of was that it was a war zone.
What I witnessed, and I will tell you in my many years with the Pennsylvania State Police and many serious situations, was one of the most intense, unbelievable gunfights I have ever witnessed.
Stein, who is from Thompsontown, was shot and killed by troopers. But tonight, we're still trying to learn what led to the shooting and what Stein's motive may have been.
I'm struck by the level of violence that this investigation over these hours as it transpired, and I remain humbled and in awe of the way that our people rallied.
State police say anyone who wants to donate to assist the families of Trooper Rougeau and Lieutenant Wagner can send a check to the PA State Troopers Association. The address is 3625 Varton Way in Harrisburg. It's on your screen right there. The check should be made out to the Survivors Fund with the name of the trooper written in the memo portion of the check. Governor Josh Shapiro has ordered all state flags be flown at half-staff in honor of Trooper Rougeau. You can see them lowered here at the State Police headquarters in Susquehanna Township. The flags will stay lowered until the trooper is interned. That date has not been announced. Others across Pennsylvania are also invited to take part. And you can find all of the information on our website at cbs21.com, and make sure you stay with us as we continue following this developing story.
An officer-involved shooting. You have an officer down.
An officer-involved shooting, the first in a series of violent events shaking Pennsylvania. Multiple communities honoring a trooper killed in the line of duty, another hurt. The shooter dead in a scene described as a war zone. 29-year-old trooper Jacques Rougeau killed in the line of duty. 45-year-old Lieutenant James Wagner fighting for his life. The shooter opening fire at Troop G headquarters, then leading authorities on a hunt through Mifflintown.
He looked like today was going to be his last day.
The shooter eventually killed by troopers, and tonight we tell the story of two men killed and hurt while defending others. Thank you so much for joining us at 5 o'clock. I'm Jasmine Brooks. Trooper Jacques Rougeau has returned home to Erie County, first arriving by state police. The casket then loaded onto a hearse, where he was transported to the funeral home. He will eventually be laid to rest in the town of Corey. We have live team coverage tonight. CBS 21's Jessica Babbs spoke to those who knew Trooper Rougeau and explains how he's being remembered tonight. Elise Person live tonight at Hershey Medical Center, where Lieutenant James Wagner is still fighting for his life. But first, Joel D. Smith live in Juniata County. Joel D., you spoke with the man who was face to face with the killer.
Yeah, that man, Dave Gray, I'll tell you about him in just a second, but it is really fresh. There's so many people here, tight-knit community. Everyone seems to know everyone. And just a couple days ago, this entire road was filled half a mile wide with police vehicles everywhere. And you just heard those gunshots. Yes, they said it sounded like a war zone, hundreds of gunshots. Once again, this is Dave Gray's property right here. He's the one who decided to put up this memorial in honor of Jacques Rougeau, the man who gave his life on Saturday. And Dave was probably the last person to see the shooter, Brandon Stein, before his fatal shootout with police.
There's nothing going to convince me that Saturday was going to be his last day. When I looked him in the face, I knew he wasn't going to go much farther.
Saturday afternoon, Dave Gray heard the first round of shots and came outside.
And like a big dummy, I get out in the front porch and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Looking irate at this guy. And he's driving up through my yard.
The pursuit continued down Swamp Road to his neighbor's property. You can still see where Stein's pickup truck ran over a bush, went through a small cornfield, and stopped at the tree line.
About that time, pop again.
More than a dozen shots went into the pickup truck and this shed as part of the shootout as well. This is where Stein was killed. Back at Dave's property, he took a moment to reflect on what motivated him to create this memorial.
Well, they're here to protect us and serve. It's nothing but right to show him respect. Just a young guy. Bunch of nonsense. Just a bunch of nonsense.
And here, back live again, this is the memorial right here. Some people have been coming by, adding flowers to it in the last couple hours. Not everyone has such a personal connection to what happened, but then again, everyone seems to have a connection in some way. We had a chance to talk to some folks that were at the restaurant where all of these shots right across the street were fired and where eventually the shooter ended up. Now, for these people, they say it's because of this tight-knit community. It's because of who this person was that this especially cut so deep.
I feel like it would be different if it was somebody maybe just driving through. But when it's somebody that you know is from here, and then I didn't know him personally. You knew where he was from and where his family was from, but it really hits differently, I think, when it's somebody from home.
And a lot of the people we talked to had feelings like that. This felt a little more personal because of the reasons she just shared. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to hear more from Dave Gray. He's the property owner here. The thing he did today to make him feel safer on his own property. We'll see you again at 5:30. For now, we're live here in Mifflintown. Joel D. Smith, CBS 21 News.
Thank you so much. Well, tonight, Pennsylvania state troopers and many others in the community are remembering Trooper Jacques Rougeau. He was from Corey, Pennsylvania. That's in Erie County. CBS 21's Jessica Babb continues our team coverage, showing us why those who knew him say he will never be forgotten.
Trooper Jacques Rougeau transferred from York to Lewistown in March of this year. I talked with his high school basketball coach, and he said it was always a goal of his to become a state trooper. And it's a goal he accomplished. Up until earlier this year, he was with the patrol unit here in York. This month, he would have been marking his 3rd year with PSP.
We are continually training for that devastating call and our opportunity to stare a threat in its face.
To a room full of soon-to-be PSP graduates back in 2020, these were the words that were spoken.
Jacques F. Rougeau, Jr.
And it's a call 29-year-old trooper Jacques Rougeau answered just 3 years later.
It's sad and tragic that at such a young age that he was taken, but he left an impression that will never go away.
Leaving an impression that will never go away. That's how Rougeau's high school basketball coach, Chad Sutton, describes him.
He was gonna help you out regardless of what it took, and do it with a smile. He pretty much epitomized the person that you would want to be watching over you.
He said he was a captain and a leader on the team, but off the court, selflessly served his community, working with younger kids as a referee for the basketball league.
He was a role model to children in the Corey community.
In 2014, Rougeau interned with the Corey Police Department.
He was drawn to law enforcement because he wanted to help people. He had a smile that would light up a room. He would be a friend to someone who didn't have a friend.
Described as caring and compassionate as he continued his call to service. In a statement from York Station Commander Lieutenant Joseph Spingler, his approach to law enforcement was through a lens of selfless service, approaching every shift with humility and humor, and the injection of positivity was present wherever he went. Spingler says he was an inspiration and is a reminder of why they wear the gray.
Everyone can learn a little bit from just taking even just a small little look at Jay's life. He's well loved and that he will never be forgotten.
Rougeau is the 104th member of PSP to make the ultimate sacrifice, giving their life in the line of duty. For CBS 21, I'm Jessica Babb.
Thank you, Jessica. And as Lieutenant James Wagner continues to fight for his life at Hershey Medical Center, that is where our Elise Person joins us live, continuing our team coverage with the latest on his condition tonight. Elise.
Jasmine, well, the very latest we know is that Lieutenant James Wagner went in for additional surgeries today here at Hershey Medical, and we're told that we're hoping that he continues to improve and everything goes for the best. That information all coming from Captain Kirk Reese, commander of PSP's Troop E. The American Association of State Troopers says the 45-year-old lieutenant is the father of 3 boys and serves as the station commander for the Bedford Station in Troop G. Wagner became a lieutenant in 2019, but began his career with PSP over 20 years ago. Wagner enlisted in the state police in September of 2002, and after graduating from the academy, he was assigned to Troop K in Philadelphia. In his over 2 decades with the state police, Wagner has moved through the ranks, serving with Troops K and G, the Bureau of Criminal Intelligence, and the Bureau of Communications and Information Services. He's also a veteran of the U.S. Navy and PA National Guard, and he currently serves in the U.S. Navy Reserves. Now, I was in touch with one of his family members today, and they tell me that they are so appreciative of all the prayers that they have received so far. And there's also a GoFundMe online now raising money for Wagner with all of his medical expenses to come as he continues to recover and hopefully pulls through after some surgeries today. Live in Harrisburg, or live in Hershey, I should say, Elise Person, CBS 21 News.
Thank you, Elise. The shooting on Saturday spanned multiple crime scenes throughout the area, and we want to give you now a timeline in Mifflintown. State police say the shooter, Brandon Stein, was playing a game of cat and mouse. It all started at the Troop G headquarters, where officials say Stein opened fire at patrol cars in the parking lot. The hours-long search went through multiple parts of the community. State police say around 12:45, Lieutenant Wagner was shot by Stein. Trooper Rougeau was shot and killed around 2:30. Everything came to an end around 3 p.m. on Saturday. Officials say they do not have a motive for this incident, and Stein was not on their radar beforehand. PSP say that there are 2 charities for anyone wishing to help the families of Trooper Rougeau and Lieutenant Wagner. Donations can be sent to the Pennsylvania State Troopers Association Survivors Fund. That's at 3625 Barton Way in Harrisburg. Contributions can also be made to the Troopers Helping Troopers Foundation. You can find out more about the nonprofit on troopershelpingtroopers.org. The donations will go directly to the families of both victims. And we do have more coverage of this tragic story at CBS21.com. There you can follow everything from the beginning and get a more detailed timeline of events.
I knew that you would change the world, Jay Rougeau. I just never imagined that it would be like this.
Father, the death of Jay has plunged our lives into darkness. Separated from him, we are broken. We are adrift. Grant us your healing grace for the days ahead.
He had a servant's heart. And he was the kind of public servant who lived every day putting others before himself, whether he was in uniform or not.
Tonight, we are honoring a hero. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Jasmine Brooks. Nearly 2 weeks after Trooper Jacques Rougeau was gunned down in Juniata County, the 29-year-old is being remembered for his heroism and service. CBS 21's Michael Gorsigner is in Erie, where law enforcement, friends, and family are remembering a touching life cut too short.
A send-off fitting for a hero. Hundreds gathering to honor the life and service of fallen trooper Jacques Rougeau, the 29-year-old killed in the line of duty. Family and friends saying he died the way he lived, serving his community and the Commonwealth. A flag-draped casket carries the body of fallen Pennsylvania State Trooper Jacques Rougeau.
I'm really not sure how to exist in a world without him. He is my entire world.
Hundreds flooding the Bayfront Convention Center in Erie, honoring the life, legacy, and service of the 29-year-old killed in the line of duty.
He was a model trooper. He was selfless. He was respectful. He was kind. He was smart.
Jay's life was stolen from us because he drove toward danger to protect the rest of us.
A call for help summoning Jay Rougeau to work on June 17th, hours into an intensive manhunt for a suspect that already shot up a state police barracks and wounded another trooper. Rougeau was killed in an ambush-style attack.
We should celebrate his heroism, and we must never forget it.
Today is not about answers, because at this point the questions don't even make sense. Today's about love.
And today, love dominating the conversation. Jay and his wife Chloe, childhood sweethearts, planning a long life together before the tragedy.
We celebrate him as a hero today, but he has always been my hero.
A hero in the truest sense of the word, with a county, a community, and a commonwealth forever in debt.
Brother, you will never, ever be forgotten.
I knew that you would change the world, Jay Rougeau. I just never imagined that it would be like this.
After a 50-minute procession from the Bayfront Convention Center back to the funeral home, Trooper Jacques Rougeau's body will stay till Thursday. At that point, it will move to Mifflintown for a private graveside service and the burial. In Erie, Michael Gorsigner, CBS 21 News.
Michael, thank you. Law enforcement from far and wide converging on Erie to honor the sacrifice of Trooper Rougeau. Departments as far away as Idaho and Texas sending representatives to the funeral. In full dress uniforms with lights flashing, the show of unity in the law enforcement community, a sight to behold. When officers head to work each day, this possibility sits in the back of their minds. Still, these brave men and women choose to serve and protect.
We expect our police officers to go to places that we want to keep us safe. And that's exactly what happened here. And my heart goes out to his family, and I think we all need to take a moment to be appreciative of the people that are willing to do that.
Also represented at the funeral from Central PA, members of the Susquehanna Township Police Department, as well as Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. Meanwhile, Lieutenant James Wagner remains in critical condition this evening, serving as the station commander of Troop G, Bedford. Lieutenant Wagner was also shot and critically wounded during an exchange of gunfire outside of the Lewistown barracks. As Wagner works toward recovery at Hershey Medical Center, there's a GoFundMe raising money to assist with his medical bills.